Washington, D.C. is probably the most significant city in the world. It's a world that's built for Satan.
We see a wonderful historic day for the nation, and the Freemasons of the United States of America are most privileged and happy to be able to participate in this momentous event. We are beginning our day, as we do in Freemasonry, with the thought of God. In order to be a Freemason, one must not belong to any particular religion, but he must believe in a supreme being in some form. Senator Thurman, members of Congress, most worshipful Grand Masters, my brother Masons, and my fellow Americans. Today is a most sacred and special occasion for all of us. 200 years ago, beneath this hallowed sanctuary, the Capitol cornerstone was laid by President and then Grand Master of Freemasons, George Washington. The inauguration of George Washington had taken place on April 30th of that year. On the Bible, which is here this morning through the courtesy of St. John's Lodge number 1. This is the same Bible upon which Presidents Clinton, Bush, Carter, and George Washington were inaugurated president.
The story of how Washington, D.C. came to be is very interesting. Washington, D.C. was originally farmland. This was chosen, of course, by Jefferson and Washington and others to be the site of the new capital of the United States. But Thomas Jefferson knew that this great city needed a full-time architect. He would be the one who watched over it, but he obtained the services of a man from France, a Freemason named Pierre Lafont. Pierre Lafont was a man who knew the Masonic occult world. He knew what he was designated to do. He sought to build a city which was shaped in the form of a pentagram.
The first time I heard that, you know what I did? I went on Google Earth, because I don't just believe everything I hear. I went on Google Earth. I didn't even look at a map. I looked at Google Earth and just zoomed in with a satellite image on that, and I said, there it is. I mean, you'd have to be blind not to see it. I was thinking like, okay, how am I gonna find it? And there was just, it's right there. You can't miss it. The United States of America has historically been a Christian nation in the sense that most of the people who live here have claimed the name of Jesus Christ. But when it comes to our government, when it comes to our leaders, it's a completely different story. They are not Christian at all. All you have to do is just walk around Washington, D.C.
The city of Washington, D.C. is loaded with images and idols and obelisks, satanic symbols and stuff like that.
Of course, the whole world knows the name Washington, D.C. What does it mean? Well, of course, it's named after George Washington, the general who defeated the English in the American Revolution. Washington, D.C. But there's a D.C., a District of Columbia, after the name of Washington. What is the District of Columbia? You know, a lot of people have seen Columbia pictures. They see the logo when the woman comes out and the beautiful woman, and she's holding a great flame in her hand, or a great light, the great torch, the torch of knowledge, of light, because Satan comes as an angel of light. That's his light. She's his goddess, and she's holding up that light. But why would the District of Columbus be called that?
Why not the District of Christ? You know,
Yeah,
it's the District of Columbia, a false goddess.
There you go, a false
it's
goddess.
It's just a totally pagan place.
A totally
Everywhere
pagan place.
you turn is paganism.
That's right.
Then go to the individual state capitals and you'll find the same idolatry. I remember as a child touring the state capital in Sacramento, California, and seeing the seal of the great state of California, which is Athena. And here's a statue of Athena. And here's another statue of Athena. And look at the capitals of the states themselves. In fact, even the symbol of our nation is a graven image. Because the Statue of Liberty is a graven image by anybody's definition. It is a carved image of man. Now you say, well, it's a woman. But here's the thing. It's a man that's dressed up as a woman. I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not. See, Lady Liberty is actually patterned after the Greek god Prometheus. That god right there is the light bearer, or Lucifer even. The one who brings the light, who is the one who supposedly among the gods brought down knowledge, right? How, like, sort of like the knowledge of good and evil, perhaps? Like, hey, eat of that tree and you'll be like gods. He, Prometheus, was the one who did that. And that is a replica of Prometheus.
They're all idols of Satan. That's what we have in Washington, D.C. They're beautiful. Oh, yes, they're beautiful. They're lovely. They're made of stone. But they are of the devil. There's a famous book published by Freemasonry in Washington, D.C. It's entitled 10,000 Famous Freemasons. That's the title of it. 10,000 Famous Freemasons. It's a great reference book. You'll find the names of astonishing people there. In fact, it seems that at least 14 U.S. presidents have been Freemasons. Some 35 Supreme Court judges have been Freemasons. And the numbers of governors and generals and senators and congressmen are innumerable.
Laying the cornerstones of buildings which serve mankind is one of the world's most ancient customs. The cornerstones of the President's house, known to us as the White House, the Washington Monument, the Smithsonian, Independence Hall in Philadelphia, incidentally by past Grand Master Benjamin Franklin, and Constitution Hall stand out among many others as outstanding examples of cornerstones which have been laid Masonically.
Notice that the obelisk stands in the midst of a great circle. The obelisk is in fact the phallus symbol. The phallus symbol. It's the phallus of the great sun god, the great architect. He is the one who designs the world, and it is his architecture that reigns. You will find an obelisk right before the Vatican in Rome. You will find one in London. You'll find also, of course, throughout Egypt, the obelisk. You'll even go to New York. You can go to Central Park, and you'll see the needle of Cleopatra, so-called. So the occult world has placed these obelisks in the major cities across this globe. But in Washington, D.C. is the primary obelisk.
Know all of you who hear me, we proclaim ourselves free and lawful Masons. We are met in open day under the broad canopy of heaven to lay the cornerstone of this building, symbol of freedom to our citizens. May the Lord prosper our handiwork, and may this building continue for centuries as a credit to the nation and a blessing to the citizens thereof.
You know, Jefferson not only helped to design, along with L'Enfant, the capital of the United States, but Jefferson also helped to design the Great Seal of the United States. Take out your $1 bill, the most common currency of the United States. There you will see the hidden side of the Great Seal. And there you have a great pyramid, the Egyptian pyramid. And directly above the pyramid is an all-seeing eye, and inside a triangle. That all-seeing eye is the eye of Horus, the son of the sun god. What is America doing with the sign of Osiris and his son Horus and their great pyramid? Now, there is a motto also to the reverse side of the Great Seal. It's E pluribus unum.
The motto of our nation, E pluribus unum, is in Latin, which is the language of the Roman Empire. And it says, out of many, one. And if you think about it, that's exactly what the New World Order is. It's many nations coming together into one nation. It's many religions coming together into one religion. It's many different currencies and financial systems all joining together into one. Out of many, one. E pluribus unum.
What does New World Order mean, and what does it mean for the future?
It means new responsibilities to keep the peace, because there's only one superpower left.
Of the many reasons given for going to war in the Persian Gulf, one rings out for its soaring, if vague, ideals.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States!
President Bush calls it the New World Order.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind. With few exceptions, the world now stands as one. The world can therefore seize this opportunity to fulfill the long-held promise of a new world order. We can find meaning and reward by serving some higher purpose than ourselves. A shining purpose, the illumination of 1,000 points of light.
President Bush's New World Order is very much an evolving idea. He may be keeping it vague deliberately. In any case, it is easier to invoke than it is to explain or to implement.
Obviously, they are talking about globalization. They're talking about the merging of nations and of continents under an economic system, under a military system, and a governmental system, all of which, of course, the elite would control for their own purposes.
The president first spoke of a new world order amid the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe, the revolutions of 1989. But critics observe it is more than just the absence of the Cold War. It is building new institutions to manage crisis and change.
If you look at the speech that George Bush made in context, where he talks about a new world order, he's referring to a world where the United States is the one superpower. You see, there used to be two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. But when the Soviet Union fell, you're left with one superpower in the world, the United States. And when the global elites like, George W. Bush or Bill Clinton or any of these people use the term New World Order, that's what they're referring to. That's what they mean by it.
In the wake of the Cold War, in a world where we are the only remaining superpower, it is the role of the United States to marshal its moral and material resources to promote a democratic peace. It is our responsibility. It is our opportunity to lead. There's no one else.
It will be your generation's task to respond to this new world. It is America that the world looks to for help. The question each of you will face is not whether America will lead, but how we will lead. Not just to secure our peace and prosperity, but also extend peace and prosperity around the globe.
For the first time in history, we have seen a movement, a political and social movement that is truly global in nature. So it's not just a new order, it's a new world order. And in that sense, it's quite accurate, because this is new in history.
Smoke, mute there, 105, 2 power. All right, sit tight, we'll get to you as soon as we can. Guys, keep staying up with the smoke mute there, man. That's all we need, that's all we can do. All right, what's where you guys up to? We're getting there. Doesn't feel like it, man. I got young kids. I understand that, sir. We're on the way. It's really good, it's black, it's iron. man. My wife thinks I'm all right. I told her and said I was leaving the building. I was fine. Just three of us, 2 broken windows.
And to those who understand biblical prophecy, what comes next will not be a surprise. At some time in the future, the King James Bible states that everyone on the planet will be required to take a mark in order to buy or sell. As our current economic system collapses and as technology expands, cash is becoming a thing of the past. The reality of a cashless society is not far off. In fact, it's already being implemented. Despite denial by many religious leaders, evil men are working around the clock to bring in a new world order. We can see the end rapidly approaching and the stage being set for the emergence of the Antichrist. We can hear the voices of those who are subverting our U.S. Constitution and promoting this global government system.
A new world order.
Satan is working behind the scenes to set up a one-world government and a one-world religion in preparation for the Antichrist.